Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hello everyone and welcome to Ask Rob and Rob, the show where you provide questions and we provide answers. That trade-off has been working for quite a lot of episodes now, over 400 in fact. So let's keep that going. We have two brilliant questions in this week, but before we kick off, let's just give you a quick reminder of how you can get your questions into the show.
It's so simple. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's so simple. If you can't follow this instruction, you shouldn't be investing in the first place. All you have to do is go to propertyhub.net/ask. You can send us a written question for the Sunday Times, or you can send us an audio question for this show right here, just like Ben's done.
Hi Rob and Rob, my name's Ben. I just want to say firstly, thanks for your content and your books. I've been listening for a while and I'm making my way through Rob's Property Investment for Beginners book. Long story short, I want to start investing in property and I've just got no idea what's best for my first investment. You probably guessed from my voice that I'm from Liverpool, and I'll be moving back up to Liverpool towards the end of the year, where ideally I'd like to start buying my first property and eventually creating a portfolio for myself. I know a bit about the areas of the city already, and I've watched your goals and strategy videos on YouTube as well. Personally, I'd like a steady income at the start. I just want to get going on the ladder. I want to get started. I'm not too cash flow heavy at the moment, so short-term goals aren't really a maximum priority. I'm more of a medium and long-term. So steady, low-risk income and then gradually building a portfolio over the next 5 to 10 years being my main targets. I don't have a huge amount of time to manage the properties as I'll be doing it while working, hence I'm not too fussed on a big project right now. But what I really want to ask is, what do you think the best or safest way is for me to get into property as a first-time buyer in Liverpool? House, flat, apartment, renting to students, renting to professionals, BRRR, holiday, apartments, etc. As you know, there's a lot of different avenues to go down in Liverpool. And me personally, I don't know many people who rent, which is what's sort of putting me off a little bit. But if you had my 50k, which is the budget I'd be working off, what would you do to get yourself going if you was at the start again like me? That's going to be a relatively safe bet and get me into the game. Thank you.
Hey Ben, thanks for your question. And as you're from Liverpool, I feel obliged to answer your question. I think you can do very well investing in Liverpool. Liverpool is a great city to invest in if you get it right. I know that sounds like an obvious thing to say, but you can get it very wrong in Liverpool and other areas as well. But Liverpool is one of those cities where I feel it's a bit of hit or miss depending on what you do. But don't worry, I'm going to give you exactly my thoughts and feelings on investing in Liverpool. First of all, I want to talk about the strategy. You've alluded to the fact that you're time poor, so it's going to rule out certain strategies because they are time intensive. So things like holiday lets, they're a no-go. That's not going to happen. Rented to students, maybe. I wouldn't deliberately target them, but if students rent your professional property, then that's fine. But I would go for an apartment or a house. Apartments are probably less work than a house, so if you really want to cut down the time. But I would be targeting professionals. So if that's the strategy to adopt for someone who's time poor, who wants to invest in Liverpool, where in Liverpool should you invest? Well, this same rule applies to wherever you invest. And it's look for the areas that are good now. Look for the areas that are always considered a great place to live. A place that whatever the market is doing, people will still want to live there. So areas close to the city that tick that box for Liverpool, and I know you will know this, but this is for the benefit of everybody listening, is areas like Sefton Park or Allerton. So places south of the city. They are lovely places to live and they will continue to be lovely places to live, and therefore there will be strong rental demand. So they're the type of areas I would be looking for. If you're looking for something a little closer to the city centre, then Baltic Triangle is an area that's really on the up and up, and new train stations being built there, which should be opening in the not too distant future. That will really benefit the area. Really trendy, really beautiful architecture. It's definitely on the up. And again, that's just south of the city. It's the south part of the city. So it's an easy one to remember. If you're investing in Liverpool and you want the safe and steady areas, south is generally the way to go. You can go north of the city, but the north, I think, would be a bit more of a gamble. You may see more volatile swings in prices. In a boom, they may grow faster, but in a bust, they'll probably fall harder. That's certainly what happened in the last property cycle. So it depends on you and your mentality and how you want to approach property. But if you like the steady gains, I would stick south. A word of warning. we have talked about on the podcast how new build property in Liverpool can be a bit of a gamble. Arguably, we've seen more schemes go wrong than right when it's come to new build, which is an absolute shame because it's a wonderful city and it does give it a bit of a bad reputation. So be extra careful if you consider new build. Make sure your deposit is fully protected, and that's not the developer telling you it's protected. That's making sure it's in escrow or something similar, and preferably don't do off-plan at all. You can be successful. There are good developers who build good stock that's new in Liverpool, but because of the amount that have gone wrong, I just want to say tread carefully if you go down that route. But hopefully I've given you plenty of other areas and options to invest in. Just buy something that's built in one of those areas, approach it for the long term, rent it to professionals, and I'm sure you'll do very well. Good luck.
Wow, super valuable answer there. It's your lucky day, Ben. Let's see what we can do for our next caller, Derek.
Good morning to the two Robs. For the past 3.5 years, I've been renting my old home to a family. All seem to be okay until the boyfriend moved out, partner. The lady has 3 daughters of school age and has not done any real work on the front or back garden. And because I live 2 hours drive away, I get complaints from neighbours about the state of the gardens. I did leave some garden tools, including lawnmower and garage. In the hire agreement, it does say they are to maintain the garden. Rent is paid in full every month, and rent has not been increased during that time. And it seems my only last option is done is to issue landlord section 21 letter. The voice would be most welcome. With regards, Derek Maynard.
Derek, thank you for the question. Gardens come up a surprising amount in the questions that come in for our Sunday Times column. And often it's in exactly the same context as you brought up here. It's someone who's renting out their former home and is aghast at the lack of care that is being given to the garden. The hard truth of it, though, is there's not a lot you can do about it. There will be a clause in the tenancy agreement that obliges them to keep the garden in some kind of order, but in reality, it's not particularly enforceable. If you fast forward to a world where no-fault evictions are no longer possible, no court is going to give you possession on the basis that they haven't been maintaining the garden. And right now, as you've said, you could issue a Section 21 notice and remove them without them having done anything wrong at all. But do you really want to? You've said that they're paying the rent. You haven't mentioned any other problems in particular. Do you want to roll the dice and get someone else in who might not pay the rent on time and have all the associated costs and have the property being empty for some period of time? And you don't know if those new tenants will maintain the garden either. So it's up to you, and I know it's harder if it's formerly been your home because you are going to have some degree of an emotional attachment to it as well. But personally, I would raise it at 6 monthly inspections, which is always helpful to carry out. But other than that, I would just leave it be. But yes, you're right, if it's a deal breaker for you, you could currently end the tenancy if you wanted to. Derek, hope that helps.
Well, that's us done for another week. We'll be back on Thursday with the Property Podcast. On Sunday, you can see our smiley faces answering your questions in the Sunday Times. And of course, we'll be back same time, same place next week with Ask Rob and Rob. So until then, take care, have fun, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.